The ocean colour scene, the day we caught the train here on Pure 24/7 Radio. We are in the second hour of the show, this being the wake-up call, and I'm Stephen D. And I am joined by Jenny Hamill from Scripture Union Scotland. So hello and good morning, Jenny.
Good morning, Stephen. Good to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you on. How are you doing this morning?
Well, I'm not a morning person, Stephen, so I'm generally doing as well as I can be for 8 o'clock in the morning. But thank you for asking.
Yeah, I'm not a morning person myself, but that is surprises everyone because I host the wake-up call. But...
Yeah, I don't believe that.
All right.
I believe that you're more than a morning person than I am.
Yeah, that seems to be the impression most people get. So we're here to talk about some very cool resources which are coming up. Would you mind just telling us, first of all, what it is you do for Scripture Union Scotland?
Yeah, so my role is creative director. So it's a joy to look after all of our marketing, our comms, and our digital resources, and our Magnitude Summer Festival as well. So this resource that we're talking about this morning very much fits under my digital remit of creating high-quality Bible engagement resources for schools, churches, and families.
Cool. So with that, just would you mind giving us an overview of what Scripture Union is and does?
Yeah, so Scripture Union has been around for a long time, since the kind of 1870s, 1880s, and not quite so long in Scotland, started in England, and has spread to a movement that is all over the world in different countries. And Scripture Union Scotland, our vision is to see every child and young person in Scotland exploring the Bible and responding to the significance of Jesus. So we do that in schools, through holidays, camps, through working with young people in training and discipleship, and in community with holiday clubs and digital groups online, gaming and so on. So those are our kind of four main contexts, with schools being a key priority in that, running SU groups, doing classroom work for what we call RME, which is religious education, volunteers and staff going in and doing assemblies and working with staff to provide input in the Christian elements of the curriculum. So we also have 3 outdoor centres and 2 campsites. So we have our partnership festival Magnitude that we run in the summer. So we're working towards a goal of working with 10% of children in the country, children and young people in the country by September, and we're on track to reach that. So a significant work in Scotland with a brilliant legacy. It's a really encouraging place to work.
Excellent. You sound very passionate about what you do. Yes,
very much so. The vision statement's the thing that definitely gets me out of bed in the morning and to interviews like this.
Excellent. So you're here today to talk about some new resources that Scripture Union Scotland has got. Would you mind just telling us a little bit about this? We're very excited to hear about it.
Yeah, so this was a really interesting one and a bit of a new thing for us. So we haven't always gone big into resource production. SU England and Wales, they would have put a lot of energy into that and would be really well known for their Bible resources, holiday clubs, Bible reading notes, etc. But for us, it was more a case of we would make resources locally. So, regional workers working in local schools with volunteers would create Bible study material or would write the material for their camp. But we weren't creating sort of centrally produced resources quite as much. And it was during the lockdown period, we sort of ramped up our resource production a little because we weren't able to be in schools. And so we were creating resources that could be online for young people or for teachers to use. And off the back of that, decided that we just wanted to invest a wee bit more in creating digital resources so that we could equip our staff and volunteers as they were going into schools and in their churches, etc. But also so we could sort of multiply our reach, because I think we saw in lockdown that actually there was huge potential for what could be done having good Bible engagement content online. So my role emerged, and I have been looking at how we do that. So we've been filming original content and we've been writing original content, Bible studies, episodic content. And that's a very long intro to explain how we came to King of Kings. So I was approached by, so I was a mutual friend put me in touch with Cova International, who were the organisation that were releasing the King of Kings film in the UK and Ireland. And essentially what we did is we partnered with Cova so that we could produce resources to accompany the film. We became the official UK and Ireland resource provider. And we had this sort of amazing partnership set up where we would have access to content from the film. So we can use clips from the film and we could then build resources around that to help children really engage with the content, to dig deeper into the Bible, and just to take what is a really captivating and creative film and use that as a platform for engaging children with the Bible and helping them to respond to Jesus.
That sounds really cool. I love it when organizations work together like that. And it is really cool to go deeper into something like the King of Kings. So what would that look like? I mean, practically speaking, how do people engage better with and go deeper into something like that?
Well, The King of Kings is a really interesting concept as a film. It's not just a straight retelling of the life of Jesus. Those parts of the film are excellent. So where we see Jesus' life, it is biblically faithful. Jesus speaks Jesus' words, and it is beautifully done. But the slight difference with this film is that it is through the lens of Charles Dickens, who is sharing the story of Jesus with his children. And he's telling the story to his son, Walter, and Walter has a really vivid imagination. So as he's sharing the story with Walter, Walter is imagining himself stepping into the story of Jesus. And in the animation, we see this character there present, on the shores of Galilee or on the mountain when Jesus is feeding the 5,000. And it's this really interesting idea that Walter is stepping in and seeing and experiencing the story of Jesus. And so what we did with the resources, because that could have been a little bit of a tricky workaround, with that framing on the film. But what we did was try and bring that into the resources. So we are encouraging children to step into the story of Jesus. So our church resources have the framework of read, watch, imagine. So they read the passages of scripture, then they watch the clip, and then they imagine themselves in the story. So we say, you've just stepped out of the boat onto the beach. What do you feel under your feet? What can you smell in the air? Or you see Jesus on the hill. What does he look like? What expression is on his face? And so we take the sort of framework of the film and we ask the children who are engaging with the resources to do the same thing that Walter is doing and to step in and to see and experience all that's going around them and use their imaginations, because kids have great imaginations. So that's kind of the idea behind the resources. And then, of course, there's all the usual with the school resources. There are suggested activities, there are quizzes, there's activity sheets. For the church resources, it's kind of set up so you can just run it as a kind of your standard Sunday school with games, activities, Bible engagement, questions, discussion, and so on. And then the family devotionals, it gives you a passage to read, and it's similar. It's a read, watch, imagine. You watch the clip, and then you do kind of response activities as a family. So it's a very interactive resource, which centres around the clips, but absolutely takes children and young people into the Bible, to the source text as well.
That sounds really good. I especially like this format of reading, watching, and imagining. I can imagine that would very easily just reiterate those key points that we want to bring across through Scripture Union, the really important and valuable story behind the King of Kings, and what we want to bring back people, as you said, bringing people back to that source material.
Yeah, and that's quite a big thing for schools. So, that's a key curriculum area, is looking at other faiths, religion, or, historical. We take the children to the source text, and there's a level of integrity comes with that. So we very much wanted to bring that in as we were creating a pack for teachers, because we have created packs for schools, churches, and families, but we were most excited about the opportunity in schools here, because there is something about schools seeing a resource built around a film that's been in the cinema. And, it stars Pierce Brosnan and Uma Thurman and Mark Hamill and so many, Forrest Whitaker. I mean, there's so many names voicing the characters in this film. And so we thought this could be just an amazing opportunity to grab teachers' attention with videos that would have credibility already, attached to the name of Scripture Union, which certainly in Scotland is really well thought of in schools and is, will be known in schools elsewhere in the UK and Ireland as well. And so we did that, but we also wanted to then have real credibility in how we put the resources together in line with curriculum. So we did build them around Scottish curriculum, but then there's a general resource pack that is sort of a neutral teachers pack as well, that just looks at the different cross-curricular elements and what we bring out from the religious education side of things too. But that source text thing, it just gives a level of historical sort of anchoring, if you know what I mean. These are not just fairy tales, but actually we're going to the source text of the Bible to see what that has to say. And of course, we know that is living word, and so the more we can get them into the pages of Scripture, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. There's that verse of Scripture that says it will not come back void, and so bringing people back to that source text is so very valuable. And doing it with, as you say, something that's so very credible, something that's been in the cinemas. People know the names of these actors that have been in this film. It's so neat. It's so perfect. It's all coming together like this.
Yeah, it has been a joy. I mean, it's something new for us to try, and it's interesting because I was sitting till very late last night writing an impact report on this project for my board. So just to give you a peek behind the curtain, that's the kind of thing we do, isn't it? Because we're a charity and we've invested in something and we want to show the impact it's having. But it was lovely to be able to show how this essentially for Scripture Union fast forwarded our ability to produce resources, because you've got these film studios in America who are producing, I think King of Kings was a £5 million production. That's not something that we would be able to do in Scripture Union Scotland, Stephen. So, we were able to take that and using these clips, write the resources that surrounded it and turn it around in, a month or two. And if we had been creating an animated feature, because we have done original animation in SU Scotland before, but that's a long lead time to do that, and you're talking about very short clips of animation in order for it to be affordable. So yeah, it's been, as you say, the way it's all come together, it just feels very much like a God thing. It was exciting for us. It was exciting for Cova that we'd worked with, and Angel Studios, who made the film, were really excited to hear what was happening in Scotland, because there's that kind of connection, isn't there, of them thinking about their ancestry. And so I think they were excited to see these Bible resources coming out of a film that had been made at the other side of the world. So yeah, it's been a really exciting and interesting journey, actually.
Yeah, it sounds really good. And with that, how do people get a hold of these resources? How do they find them? Because, they sound genuinely amazing.
So the film is streaming on various platforms. It is on Prime Video at the moment, and that will be free to stream for members from March 27th. So you can rent it at the moment for a very small amount, but it will be free from the 27th. So that's the film. The DVD is also available. So that's how you would access the film if, as a family, you want to watch that at home or you want to set up a screening in your church. In terms of the resources themselves, they're all available completely free on the Scripture Union Scotland website. So the web address is suscotland.org.uk/The King of Kings. But if that is tricky, then if you Google The King of Kings and SU Scotland, you will find them immediately. But yeah, once again, it's suscotland.org.uk/The King of Kings. You put in your email address and where you're going to use the resources, just so we can keep track of who's using what. But it is completely free, and that is what we do. We want to be offering these resources freely available to make it easy for people to teach and dig into the Bible together.
Thank you so much for joining us, Jenny. It's absolutely amazing what this has come together. How it's come together definitely feels like something of God, and bringing people back to that source text is absolutely amazing. So thank you for sharing this with us this morning, and thank you for joining us.
No problem. Thank you so much.
Did you know that at Pure 24/7 Radio we also offer advertising? Advertising really does work. Let's face it, you're listening to this. Want to know more? Well, just go to pure247radio.org, pure247radio.org/advertising, and you can get everything you want and more there.